Hello, Larry Mack here, and it's time for another Zoom call interview. And I've got the one and only Nancy Wilson on the Zoom call with me. And Nancy, thank you so much for joining us today here in Tucson.
Hello, I'm in Tucson now.
Yes,
You,
this,
Larry.
this is fantastic. I mean, I've done so many interviews in my career, and it's always over a phone, and you can't really see
Yeah,
the person or know what's going on. But I'm
right.
guessing I'm looking at your kitchen.
Yes, that's my kitchen. Here's my kitchen. Um, there's the other part of the living room over there, the dining room. There's our TV over there.
Oh, that's really cool.
But yeah, thanks for having me at your place in Houston.
Oh, Tucson, actually.
Tucson, not
It's
Houston.
okay. It's all the Southwest. So.
Right.
Well, you currently are working, from what I'm hearing, on a new solo album.
Yes, I am.
And basically, I keep hearing about it. We've been playing the song "The Rising," but I haven't heard if there's a title for the album as of yet.
Right now it's tentatively called In the Lab, because everybody that's working on it with me, the guys in Heart
Hmm.
mainly, from Seattle, well, a big team of guys in Seattle, um, they each have their own kind of recording area in their homes, of course, and so each guy is taking the file and adding the drums or adding the bass or adding the keyboards and sending it to the guy in Colorado who mixes, sends rough mixes back to me, which I then approve or have notes on, and then eventually it all gets mastered. But but The Rising is the first single that did get mastered already and approved. And so it's sort of like everybody's got their laboratory at home, like you there,
Hmm.
like me here, where I make the recordings. And it's just, but I don't know. I'm not sure if it's the right title, but I might want to call it what Taylor Hawkins, my friend Taylor from the Foo Fighters, whose guest appears on the album, um, he thought maybe I should call it Release the Angels.
Oh,
So
that's a nice name. I like it.
pretty nice name. So maybe I'll keep that one.
So the first song, the first taste we've had of this new album is "The Rising." It's a cover of a Bruce Springsteen song.
Right.
Why a cover for the first song that you're releasing to the public instead of one of your originals?
Um, I think because it's really appropriate for our times. Um, and it was one of the first things I actually put down. It was like one of the first things I'd seen Springsteen on Broadway a few years ago,
Hmm.
a couple years back, and I'd always liked Bruce a lot. But when I saw that show, it was so extraordinary. It was so um, personal, universal, hysterical, the storytelling and everything without any production. It was just him. And it really instructed me and informed me that those are incredibly valuable songs. And
Hmm.
especially nowadays with what we're all living through, we're trying to get through and live through, um, that might be aspirational right now. And I think it's kind of turned out into something that's kind of helping people to cope, you know.
Hmm. Well, music
And,
for me has always been cathartic, and
yeah,
also like, wow, somebody else is going through the same thing I'm going through. It may even be a different take in my brain than what you wrote,
well, I
but
know it's
it's
true.
really cool that we can all get multiple things out of the same song.
Yeah, well, that song was originally written after 9/11 by Bruce. And you know, there's amazing, such amazing lyrics that are so spiritually and emotionally correct about
Hmm.
it. And it it coming from being interpreted by a female singer, it also adds a whole other dimension, I think, to the storytelling in the song. It's like, makes more kind of a human family story out of the song.
Has Bruce heard your version?
Yes, I heard that he really likes it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because I was really hoping against hope. He likes it when people cover his music. I heard too. So yeah, his people came back to my people and they said they really liked it.
Have you ever actually met, have you, you know, I always assume because you're all music stars that you all know each other and have hung out together and blah, blah, blah. Have you ever met Bruce?
I've met him a couple of times early in the like early 80s. Was the last time I actually was there in a room with him. But you know, a lot of people in music, in the arts, whatever, are travelers. You know, they're always busy and they're
Mm-hmm.
passing like ships in the night. You know, so tour buses in the night. But but
So you're always in different parts of the world, and unless you're there at a big event or something like
different,
Live
yeah,
Aid or something.
eras, different decades. I mean, being from Seattle, having grown up in Seattle, I know a lot of the Seattle musicians, mainly, most of all, because
Mm-hmm.
there's a real good community in Seattle. It's a real supportive community, unlike, you know, the community, for instance, in LA, where it feels like an industry town where people are competing, you know.
Mm-hmm. A little bit more bloodthirsty.
Yeah, exactly. But Seattle is not that way at all, and kind of refreshingly not like that. And so the stars I got to hang out with were mostly Seattle rock people, and you know, a little bit with Stevie Nicks along the way, and a little bit with Bruce Springsteen along the way, and a little bit with Led Zeppelin along the way. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, but
But
it's like when you're such a fan yourself, and you get to see people that you're enamored by, you know, like Led Zeppelin. It's like, or like Paul McCartney. I don't know who to be. You know, I don't know what to say.
well, you know, as a fan of music myself, and I've been a big fan of you and your career, it's always cool to like talk to an artist and go, wow, they're just like us. They get a little bit tongue-tied when they're talking to one of their favorite musicians
Yeah,
or
true.
that they, so who actually, you know, you mentioned Seattle, obviously, you just mentioned Springsteen and Paul and Led Zeppelin, but who inspired you when you were, I know you started out pretty young writing, you
Mhm.
were a little girl. Who made you want to become a musician?
Well, the Beatles, in we saw them. We knew they were coming, and then we saw them on Ed Sullivan. You know, in what is it, 64? 19, in the year of our Lord, 1964.
Mm-hmm.
And, and it was a game changer, you know, all the way around. We had a lot of music in our family along growing up already, singing and playing ukuleles and pianos and stuff. But that's when we had to have guitars and had to learn how to play Beatles songs and had to learn how to play top 40 radio songs, and just were, you know, just the call, you know, we were just, it was the call of Mecca, you know, to
Mm-hmm.
become musicians and to make bands happen and get proficient and sing and play. So I was about 9, and that's
Mm-hmm.
when I started. And I seriously have not had one regular job besides the music job in my entire life.
Wow.
Can you believe that? I
Well,
mean,
and
it's
I know a
almost.
lot of musicians, and I can tell you they've all had an extra regular job.
Yeah. Well, I almost feel like embarrassed to admit it, because I started really young, and then as soon as I got out of university, I didn't go 4 years, but I went a year and a half to university, and then I joined Ann's band, and we started making the first album, and boom, it was like from there out, it was join the army, see the world, you know.
And then you also got this other side project, if you can call it that. The Roadcase Royale band.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
can you tell
So
me a
yeah.
little bit about that? And then we'll get back to your new solo record as well, because I know that's the main reason you're here.
Yeah. When Hart was on a hiatus for a couple of years there between Hart tours, and I was like, I want to do something creative with my, you know, off time. And I didn't know for sure at that moment if Hart was going to really go back out again or not. And so I met Liv Warfield, my singer, um, at the Hollywood Bowl, who had opened for Hart, her and her guitar player, Ryan Waters, who both had been working with Prince before that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're both really amazing talent. And it's like, let's make a band, let's get my buddy Ben Smith from Heart on drums, and let's get, these guys that are playing in Heart
Mm-hmm.
into this band. And we made a record with some originals on it and some Heart songs, just to try to get noticed. And then we got the gig opening for Bob Seger.
Oh, wow.
On his arena tour.
Mm-hmm.
And we got about a week or two in, but then he had an old injury that came back to haunt him, and he had to cancel the rest of the tour.
I remember that. I was supposed to go to one of those. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we had so much fun with that band. And, I've been working on various kind of benefit type things for the Crew Nation,
Mm-hmm.
and with Nuno Betancourt and Liv Warfield and
Mm-hmm.
Ryan and my band guys too. And, various things. The thing for Alice in Chains is coming up. It's their tribute anniversary thing. And we're doing a version of Brother with Liv Warfield for that
really?
too. Yeah.
Oh, so, wow. That's really cool.
Yeah. So, there's I've got a lot of bands, I guess.
It seems like you're 2020, a lot of people are stuck at home, but it seems like 2020, you're stuck at home, but you're doing a lot of stuff.
I'm doing a lot. Well, I'm just over the whole jigsaw puzzle part of it. I'm over that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not into it anymore. So
I understand. I
figured I need to get a little more creative with my time here. And normally it'd be on the road, we'd be doing something, be really busy elsewhere, traveling.
So as you explained, that you've never had a normal job. You've only had this job of being a musician. And obviously that means part of it being a road warrior. And 2020 has obviously changed a lot of that for the music industry, a lot of different industries as well. But is it driving you nuts that you got to stay home, or are you reconnecting, or a mixture of both?
It's actually becoming more a blessing in disguise for me, just because I'm able to reconnect to my creative interior self, and I'm not just slammed with travel and slammed with touring and slammed with trying to make another studio album, for the band. There's just a blessing to be had where when you remember what it's like to have a home life. And we just kind of moved up to this area recently, and there's another outbuilding that's just become my whole music space.
Oh, wow.
It's like a little apartment, and I could leave everything out. I've got all my guitars where I could just grab them.
Mm-hmm.
It's all set up for me, and I can leave it like that. And it's just, there's always a good thing that comes out of the bad.
Yes.
You have to look for it sometimes.
So tell us a little bit more about the new album. Is it going to be self-titled? Is it under your name? It's not a band. It's you and a band, right?
Well, the band might be called The Lab.
Okay.
I'm still kind of figuring that stuff out, but yeah, I think it's my first ever studio solo album.
Okay.
I've done a couple other things here and there, and scoring for films and stuff like that too. But this is like me having a chance to sing more and write more and express, a lot of variations of on themes, and I'm really getting excited about it.
What type of record is it? Is it a harder record, or is it a softer record? Kind of like The Rising's a softer song, or is it a mixture of both?
It is a mixture of both. There's, I've got like a big rocker with Taylor Hawkins and Duff McKagan playing.
Oh, wow.
Some big rockers, and then some really emotional stuff, ballad type stuff too, and some whimsical kind of in the middle stuff. So I guess like Heart in a lot of ways, it's got a lot of variation. It's, it's got a Personality disorder. No.
Do you write lyrics first, or do you write the music first and then try to find the lyrics for the music?
It comes every which way to me.
Okay.
Sometimes I get a little snip of a melodic, theme in my head, and I'll sing it into my phone, like da da da, and or some words will start or float by, and I'll write them down real quick. And then sometimes you can connect the dots, and it works.
So you're working on the record right now. I understand besides The Rising, you have a couple other covers on there as well?
Yeah, I have a version of uh, a Pearl Jam song called Daughter.
Oh,
There.
okay. Love
I,
that song.
last year I sang The Boxer with Heart, and so we did The Boxer,
Mm-hmm.
Simon and Garfunkel.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, and of course The Rising. And here's my list. What else did I cut? No, that's it. Everything else is original. I got 10 songs.
10 songs. Any
Yeah.
plan as of yet? I know you're still working on the name of the album. You got a couple options, as you told me already. Any idea of when it might be coming out? Is it something early 2021?
Yeah, we're thinking first quarter, like March.
Okay.
There'll be another single early January, and maybe a single and a single, and then the whole thing comes out early March.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then obviously this is going to be the weirdest question to ask in light of the year 2020, but is there any tentative plans to go on some kind of tour, or are you
There,
kind of like waiting with the rest of the world to see what happens?
well, there's a space in Seattle where all my bandies are living.
Mm-hmm.
It's all set up for picture and sound and lights and recording. So
Mm-hmm.
we might drive up there once the album's released and do a show, in
Oh,
that
cool.
space, and record it.
Maybe do a
Release.
virtual show for people to watch online and stuff like that.
Yeah, maybe. Or have distance audience, but nobody knows anything for a while yet, you know.
It's I've done a few of these interviews, and it's just weird because so many of the artists and the musicians that I've talked to, it's a lot of, when I did interviews pre-COVID, yeah, we got this, and everybody's like, well, we're working on music, but we
Yeah.
out there and really play in front of an audience again, which I know that for a lot of musicians, I mean, you guys feed off of that.
Yeah, it's a larger than life adrenaline hit, when you get to be on a big rock stage, and it's loud music and cool lighting, and all the excitement of that, and the electricity of that people give you when you've got an audience, like they're just loving on you real hard, and it's a great thing. But this is fine for right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's an offer on the table for Heart, and we'll see how that all pans out or not.
So just to clarify, because I've heard a bunch of different stories about Heart, you guys are back together and hopefully going to tour again?
We're going to hopefully tour again. Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The
last tour was one of the top 5 biggest tours of the summer. So we did a good tour last summer.
Weren't you guys, who was on that tour with you guys? Was that?
We had Joan Jett out there, and we had a couple other people coming in and out. We had Brandy Carlisle one time, and
okay.
a few others, female.
Hopefully we'll see a Nancy Wilson solo tour and maybe a Heart tour after that in 2021.
That would be good. I would be up for that. Well, cool talking to you. I'll do that.
Okay, perfect. Oh, real quick, one last question for you. Is there a website or a social media page that you would like to direct our listeners to if they want to find out more about your solo stuff and the things going on in Nancy Wilson's world?
Well, I have an official website that's Nancy Wilson.
Okay.
That's the safest place to find me.
NancyWilson.com?
Yeah, there's also a Heart official website too. So it's not easy. It's not hard to find us.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll make sure. Thank you so much, Nancy. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day hanging out with us in Tucson, Arizona.